So our old pal, little Yachty here, is taking a break from the yacht lifestyle. He wants to renovate his home, right out in the burbs where he lives. He lives in the burbs. Now he has decided to reside the house to give it a fresh look. Wants to make it look good. And he's been able to figure out all the areas except one. Now the dimensions have been labeled, and the roof pitches are 312 and 812 that we see. Okay. So he's having trouble basically figuring out the area of this part right here. That part that he needs to side. He knows it's 4 foot, 7 foot, and he knows the two roof pitches. Well, I wonder which one of those is most important here. Well, let's see here. First up, this doesn't look like a right triangle to me, does it? Now, we don't really know how to find the area of a right triangle or a non-right triangle right now other than making it into right triangles, which can sometimes be kind of tricky. But luckily for us, there is a fancy formula. And here is that fancy formula. So if I have a non-right triangle, the area is equal to 1/2 times my two sides times the sine of the included angle. Okay? So let's make sense of that right here. So if I've got this side length and this side length and this angle right here, the angle that's between the two sides that I know, I can figure out my area of the triangle. Okay? So let's think about that over here. I know this side. I know this side. What angle do I want to know in order to do this? Well, if I find out what this angle measure is right here, that is the angle that is formed by the two sides that I know information about. Right? So this is basically like my C, this is like my B, this is my angle A. I want to figure out what that is. Well, I was told in this problem that this is a 312 pitch of this roof, right? That is incredibly difficult to read. Let's try that here. 312. That's what that pitch is. Okay. Well, if I remember back to my fancy right triangle trig unit, what angle is that? Well, that's my rise or my run. So if I do my tangent inverse, again, this is review now. This is not new stuff. If I do my tangent inverse, I get about 14 degrees for that pitch of the roof, right? Okay. Well, if that's 14 degrees, that's not what that angle A is right here, but think about this. This is like a horizontal line level with the ground. This angle right here is 14, and this one's 90, 14. Put those together, and I get 104 for angle A. All right. Now, in a problem on your test, I would be more like I would give you that angle. I wouldn't have you figure it out using a bunch of old stuff like we just did right there. I would give you what that angle is, okay? But only because we're testing on the non-right triangle trig. But you have the tools to figure out what that angle is. Say that you're given a pitch or that you use a fancy level to figure out what the angle is of the roof. You can think through it with a little bit of math and get that 104 degrees that we have there. So now I've got everything that I need to plug it into this formula. Okay, so I'm going to have my area is equal to 1/2 times my two sides, so times 4 times 7 times the sine of the angle, which is 104. So I plug that all into my calculator. Again, having the TI 84 or 83 at this point is quite helpful. You can do it, but it can be kind of messy with a phone calculator. My area ends up being approximately 13.58, so about 13.6, maybe round up to 14, maybe even all the way up to 15, depending on what you want your overage to be. It looks like there's some fancy cuts, right? Say, let's do a little review here. How about 15%? Okay, so let's add our 15% in there because there are some weird cuts going on. So if I add in there the 15%, basically multiplying that number by 1.15, I'm going to get, so add 15%, I get 15.6 square feet. Okay? So this is roughly what I get, and if I want to add 15 or add 20 or whatever, I can do that. But I guess we could probably leave that up to Lil Yachty. He's probably been taking care of that. He's probably just putting together his square footage. So let's give him the 13.6, but we'll let him take it from there. We'll see if he wants to add 10%, maybe 5%. Who knows? Maybe 20 or 15. I don't know. That's up to Lil Yachty to decide. All right, let's try one more. So our old buddy Fetty Wap is here, and he's putting an addition on his house to store extra boxes of confetti wop while they wait to be shipped. Okay, he has his own party supply business, if you didn't know, where he sells things such as confetti wop. Okay, so he's adding an extra 10 feet off to the side of the house, making it a total width of 30. Let's jot that down right here. So this is 30 feet now. This right here is 10, which makes this 20. All right. I'm actually going to write that above so we can read it. 20. Okay. Cool? I like it. All righty. Now the current roof has a 10-12 pitch, and the new roof meets the old roof 7 feet up the slope. So let's see here. First off, this sounds like this would be right here. Whoop. There we go. This is 7 feet. This right here would match the 10 feet that we put down there, so that's 10 feet. It is a 10-12 pitch. We'll see how that helps us. I don't see it yet, but I'm thinking I will in a little bit. All right. So we got to figure out how much siding to order. Okay. Well, we got a 9-foot height. So if I just want to go with this first, the rectangle. So this is a 9-foot by 30-foot area that needs to be sided, right? So I'm going to count for that right away. That's easy, right? 9 times 30 equals 270 feet squared. Okay? So that's the first part. Cool. Now I've got to deal with a gable end, this triangle up here, and I need to deal with this funky looking triangle. Sounds like that might be one of our new formulas that we found out. Okay, so I know that this is 20, right? This right here is 20. So I need to figure out my height. I don't know what that is. In order to find the area of a triangle, I need to figure out that height. It is a 10-12 roof, right? Okay, so if I have a 10-12 roof, I could probably figure out what my height is. I know that this right here, this half, is 10 feet. So what's this? How about I set up a proportion? Oh my goodness. I'm going back to all sorts of old stuff. We're doing surface area. We're doing a little bit of action with some proportions. So I know if I have a 10, 12 roof, that's going to be equal to, so that's my rise over my run, x is my rise over my 10-foot run. Both those being 10s is just a coincidence. If I cross multiply, I get 100 equals 12x. And if I divide by 12, I end up with 8.3 repeating. A third of a foot is 4 inches, so 8 foot, 4 inches. That's what my height is. So now let's find the area of that triangle. Well, base times height over 2, right? So 1/2 times my base times the height. So let's do that in our calculator. 1/2 times 20 times 8.3 repeating, and I end up with 83.3 repeating. Well, duh. Half of 20 is 10. Move the decimal. So that's 83.3 repeating. Okay, so I'm going to add that into my square footage here. Why don't I start boxing my different pieces in red? So I've got this right here, feet squared. So I've got 3 pieces of the puzzle, all taken care of. Now I've got to get that last little triangle. Okay. So I've got this guy done up here. That is my 83.3 feet. I've got this whole rectangle side elevation part right there. That's 270 square feet. Now I need this little triangle right here. Well, I've got two sides. I've got the 7 and I've got the 10. If I can find the included angle, which is this angle right here, I am in good shape. I wonder if there's a way to do that. And I shall give you a hint. There is. So I made it a little smaller so we got some room to work here. But how could we figure this out? Well, so I know my roof pitch is 10-12, right? So I can figure out my angle of that. My roof pitch is 10-12, so I know using a little bit of inverse tangent, we've done this a lot, so this should hopefully become second nature to you. Tangent inverse of 10 over 12. That is approximately 39.8 degrees. Okay, so let's look at our roof here. It's basically like this, and then, I don't like that, then this, right? But I've got that flat line there. And the roof pitch we just said was 39.8, so 39.8 degrees. That's that angle right there. Well, the angle that I'm looking for in my diagram is this guy right here. Is there anything that I know about that angle in relation to the 39.8? Well, this is a flat line right here, right? This is a straight line. At least it should be, unless our house is a little messed up. But let's say that it is. So this angle right here is 180 degrees because it's a straight angle. Right? That's a straight angle right there. Well, if this is 39.8, why don't I just subtract that from 180? So if I do 180 minus that 39.8, I get 140.2. So this angle right here is 140.2 degrees, roughly. So I can use that to figure out my area of that triangle, because now what I have, and I shall blow this up a little bit, I have 7 feet, 10 feet, and 140.2 degrees. I can use my new area formula, 1/2 times 7 times 10 times the sine of 140.2. Let's plug all that in our calculator. Love just clicking around in this bad boy. You know, once I've mathed it out, thought it out, I end up getting area equals 22.4 approximately. And that is our third and final piece of the puzzle. So what do I do with all these? I'm going to add them together. So I got to add in the 83.3 repeating and the 270 from that initial rectangle that we figured out. And I get a total area. Total surface area, we'll say, of 375.737. So again, approximately, because I'm rounding, I always forget. And that's feet squared. That's awesome right there. So that is my total surface area. We'll likely want to add in 10%, maybe 15%, depending on what they decide. But that would be my surface area there. I could also then subtract out my windows. I see 3 windows there, but we won't get into that right now. Mainly just getting tricky with it, like we just did here. A bit of review, right? This part right over here, this is the new stuff. But we reviewed with our inverse tangent over here as we were trying to solve for that missing angle and then eventually get the supplement of that. A little more review. Oh my goodness, how wonderful, right? We're throwing back as well as learning new things. Wonderful. Love it. So much fun.